Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Info on the Go. I'm your host, Dietric Williams, the navigator, here to take you from where you are to where you want to be. Today I want to talk about the Fed. Yes, I want to talk about the Fed. And the reason is because they are getting ready to convene next week, December 10th and 11th, to discuss the state of the economy. Now, typically when they meet, one of the things that they talk about is whether to raise, lower, or keep interest rates the same. The average person who hears that usually thinks that they mean mortgages and things of that nature. The Fed does not control home loan interest rates, but what they do control is what's called the Fed funds rate. The Fed funds rate is the amount of interest that banks charge one another to borrow money for their reserve requirements. Now, banks as in general are required to keep a certain amount on hand, liquid, just in case somebody or some entity needs to make a large, substantially large cash withdrawal. The Fed wants to make sure that there's money on hand to meet that withdrawal requirement. So for a bank that has between 15 and I think 110 million, the reserve requirement is 3%. Anything above 110 million is 10%. So now you know what that means. Now, if the Fed decides to raise interest rates or the Fed funds rate, that means it's going to cost banks more money to borrow money. And they're going to pass that to whom? You and I, the consumer. That could be in the form of higher interest rates on credit cards, school loans, business loans, auto loans, and what else? You guessed it, mortgages. So while the Fed does not directly control interest rates on home loans, there could be some trickle down effect as it relates to that by what they do with the Fed funds rate. So I just wanted to share that with you today to clear up some of that misnomer. Make sure that you pay attention to what's going on in the economy because one, it's your money, and two, you want to just be informed so that you're making rational, logical decisions rather than decisions based on emotion. All right. Again, if you found this information helpful, please share it. Like it, leave comments, whatever the case may be. I'll make sure to get back with you as soon as I possibly can. If you just have any general questions on real estate, I'm more than happy to help you. I want to thank you again for tuning into this edition of Info on the Go, and I will see you next time.